Hey everybody, part like the Red Sea, it's Sandra Kent, the Clark Kent who never was to be. So I'm here on Radio SLCC, your online student source, and today we're going to be talking about LARPs, improvs, and... No, sorry, not simprovs. We'll get to that later. LARPs, simulations, and improvs. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you think I'm making up words, which in a way I am, stick around, because this is what my show is going to be all about here on Radio SLCC, your online student source. Also stick around for a great concert I went to. Fantastic. Got some stories to tell you today. We have Cecilia and the Satellite by Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness up next. Enjoy.
I lock myself in a...
Hey guys, it's Sandra Kent. Once again, we are going to be talking about simulations, LARPs, and improv. So just to give a quick definition for two of those, because I feel like simulation, if any of you know what that is, it needs a little bit of a longer explanation. It's one of the coolest type of this thing. And, so improv is going to be short for improvisation in theater. So if any of you are theater geeks out there, you know what I'm talking about. You improv, you get on stage with no script, you make it up, right? LARPing stands for LARP. It's live action role playing. So that's another thing we're going to be discussing today here on Radio SLCC, your online student source. So stick around.
Radio SLCC, your online student source. Here's what's happening.
Hey everybody, it's Sandra Kent here in Radio SLCC, your online student source, and I want to talk to you guys about a concert that I went to. I mentioned it on my last show that I got tickets to an Owl City concert, and I was getting kind of scared because it was general admission, which means that there's just, as many people as can cram into that little room, or at least that's what I assume that's what that means. There were a lot of people, not uncomfortably a lot of people, but it was so worth it, guys. I love Owl City. He is my favorite band of all time, which is just going to give you another hint to what you're going to be listening to when I'm in charge of the music here, because I adore Owl City. And I don't like going to concerts. I'm not a concert goer, really. But this concert, I knew every song and every lyric, and I was just so excited to be there and see him in live. He was like 20 feet away from me, and I sang at the top of my lungs, and I had so much fun, and I bought a beanie to remember the night, and it was so worth it. So anyway, check out Owl City Music if you want to know what's going to be up. Next up, we have Lay It All On Me by Rudimental featuring Ed Sheeran. I'm Sandra Kent, and this is Radio SLCC, your online student source. Hey everybody, it's Sandra Kent here in Radio SLCC, your online student source. So just to kind of clarify on my last break on Owl City, I mentioned before, like a few shifts ago, that I was really scared he was going to be a bad live performer, because I think I saw like one video to prove me differently. He was incredible, totally on pitch the entire time. He's a good singer, and I'm glad he was up there, so yeah, just to clarify. Alright, so I'm going to try to explain what a simulation is to you guys. I used to go to Paradigm High School, which is a little high school out in West Jordan. It's like 500 people. We all knew each other. It was like a homeschool thing. So simulation, one that stuck out in my head, they use simulations there a lot to kind of teach, or at least one teacher did. And one that stuck out in my head was, I think, we were split into two groups. The whole class is split into two groups just for like number purposes. And we were each given a character. I was a woman with a child. My friend was like a guy on welfare, and another guy was a doctor, and it was these kind of just general characters. And we were sat at a table, and we were told we were all living in a greenhouse on Mars or something, and we were running out of air or supplies or food or something, and we had to decide who would technically, I guess, just walk out and die on Mars. So we had to have this discussion as if we were our characters. Now, simulation is kind of going to be like that. It's like an improv where you go through a scenario. They do simulations weeks at Paradigm too, where basically you're split into countries. Yeah, and each classroom is going to be, or like they pick 5 classrooms, and each classroom is a country, and you countries have to divide your political affairs between each other. So it's a scenario that you all act out. It's not real, of course, it's just improv, but it's really fun. Simulations are the bomb. So more up on improv and LARPs next. So next up is What Do You Mean by Justin Bieber here on Radio SLCC, your online student source. I'm Sandra Kent, and I love this song.
What do you mean?
Hey everybody, it's Sandra Kent here on Radio SLCC, your online student source. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about improv. Like I said before, it is short for improvisation, and it is in theater, and it's, if any of you are theater geeks and you know what I'm talking about, it's basically where the teacher sits you up there and goes, all right, you're a policeman on the moon, and you're gonna arrest this bunny, right? And you have to act that out, right? And it's challenging your acting skills by making up what you have on the spot. You know, you make up lines from your head, you make up what's gonna happen from your head. There are certain rules. Some of the places that I know does improv here in Utah, two of the places, one is not very well known. If you know Draper Historic Theater, they have an off-the-wall off-the-wall improv that they perform every Saturday. I think it's pretty late. It's like 10 o'clock at night. But it's really good. It's just by local people. It's really fun to watch. They keep it clean. It's family friendly. There's another one. I haven't actually been to this one, but I've heard about it. I go to the library sometimes down in the city, and there is an improv theater across the street. I can't remember the exact name of the theater, but they have an improv group called Laughing Stock. It's called Laughing Stock Improv, and according to my dad, who apparently has been there, I really want to go, but he says it's so family friendly that if they ever do anything off color, everyone yells, to the stocks, and that person is basically punished. So improv's cool, especially when it's kept family friendly and clean. So here on Radio SLCC, your online student source, all about improv and keeping things clean and cool. I'm Sandra Kent.
Radio SLCC. You're on.
So I think like a week ago, I went and did some practicum for this radio class, which translates to outside experience. I went and signed up to commentate on a volleyball game, and I learned something even deeper than before I knew it. I don't know anything about volleyball, especially jargons, and especially score keeping points, and I just don't even know. I just said stupid stuff the entire time, like, oh, they look really good tonight. No, they're playing really hard, because that's all I knew. So anyway, the guy who did it, thankfully, with me knew what he was talking about, so he just took care of that. I actually got a parking ticket after I got out of there too, which is a funny story. That's my first parking ticket, I think, ever, because I'm finally 18, and so that was fantastic. Next up is Renegades by Ex-Ambassadors. Hope you guys enjoy, and don't get parking tickets. It sucked. It wasn't fun. Anyway, yeah, I parked at the Redwood campus. Okay. Hey guys, so it's my last shift on my break, and I'm probably just going to try to explain LARPing to you guys. Like I said before, it does stand for live action role playing, and it's a lot like simulations and improvs where you take on a character and you play out a plotline. On this one specifically, it's more focused on, I've seen more popularly, going to be fantasy. I have a LARP group that comes to my church. I know them very well, actually. They're part of a group I'm fond of, and they just beat each other with swords, little foam swords, and they have games that they play. It's a sport. So, yeah, it's a lot of the same. If you've ever heard of Dungeons and Dragons, it's a lot more like that. Go ahead and look that up on your own. Sometimes the plotlines will have monsters that will increase in strength and size and stuff like that. So it's basically just taking on a character and playing out a plotline, just like simulations and just like improv. So you can see kind of the correlation here that I'm trying to make. All right. So my shout out today is actually going to go towards anybody who is stressed or sad or depressed because of school or work, because I know what you're feeling. It's getting hard out there. So work hard here on, just like we do here on Radio SLCC, your online student source. I'm Sandra Kent, and thanks for listening.
Radio SLCC, your online student source.